Welcome to Comtrack. Welcome to our very special Halloween episode. I've been super stoked to talk to you guys about this one. Joining me back is, of course, my ever wonderful co-host Sean.
Happy to be here.
And we also have my good friend Dan, Daniel Gill. Say hi, Dan.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Wonderful entrance, sir. And
Thank
you were the one who pointed out this wonderful little gem that we're going to be talking tonight. Ghostwatch, you guys. So, you know what? Since you kind of really are familiar with the history and whatnot, why don't you take it away, Dan, and explain to what all us weirdo, stupid Americans are missing out on. Oh, and of course, folks, if you guys just want to start the movie, especially you British people out there who are watching, listening, if you guys just want to skip right to the movie, there's a tab button where the movie starts below in the description. But that said, Dan, take it away. Tell us all about Ghostwatch.
I'm not going to tell you anything about Ghostwatch.
Oh,
We're not the movie for that.
That's very true.
I don't want to spoil anything. I will talk through and I will explain certain things that are coming up. I discovered this movie around 2004, 2005 when I was living in Florida. I'd heard about it, and I'm like, this is interesting. So a buddy of mine at work loaned me a copy on DVD. It was a bootleg copy. And I watched it, and I'm like, okay, what's this? And by the end, I'm like, oh my God, that was genuinely terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I did a lot more research, and it was actually banned for a number of years. It's only recently started showing up again. But it was one of the first of the. It's been called a found footage movie, but it's not. It's more of a mockumentary. I mean, it's basically a story about a haunted house being investigated by television reporters. But the way it was done was so unique for the time period. I've never seen anything exactly like it since.
Yeah. Well. The first thing that ran through my head was, obviously Orson Welles' War of the World broadcast. And, I actually grew up obsessed with that particular broadcast. Like, my mom gave me the tape and everything that I listened to all the time. And I even have this old radio. It was made in the 70s, so it has like a little cassette thing, but it looks like it was from the 30s. And for those of you who are like actually listening to this on YouTube, there's a picture of it, if you're listening to this on like Spotify or wherever, you can always just like pull this up on YouTube and take a look. But anyway, I was obsessed with the War of the Worlds broadcasts and whatnot. And when you pitched me this, I'm like, oh yeah, it's basically the same thing, but with television in the BBC in 1992. I'm like, far out. So, and then I know you haven't heard of this really until very recently, until I pitched to do this for the show, Sean.
Yeah, this was my first introduction to it. Just watched it, basically a week ago, and I thought it was brilliant. But at the same time, I also have, I'm not going to lie, a level of hatred for it because of what I feel this is responsible for the genre it spawned, which was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is great. Later iterations of people imitating and taking the idea and running with it in terrible directions is horrifying.
Yeah,
oh my God, right? Like, almost all film students, hate Blair Witch Project. 90% because it's so cheap and they made so much money, and the other 10% because they're like, fuck, why didn't I do that first?
There is a rumor that the creators of Blair Witch actually saw a bootleg copy of this and were inspired.
Yeah. Blair Witch is one of two films I regret seeing in theaters.
I
never saw it in the theaters. I actually saw it when my roommate bought it, and he's like, oh my God, this movie's so scary. Well, the problem is he bought it and then watched it the first time with me with the commentary on.
Oh,
God.
And it's just these two doofs talking about their movie, and I'm like, this isn't scary at all.
No,
so
it's not.
I never really got into it. I never got the full effect. He said it was terrifying.
There is no full effect because that's the problem with the movie. There's no payoff. It's someone standing in a corner. There's no payoff.
Exactly. Like, we get all this suspense, and we only get, like, a glimpse of a dude just standing there. I'm like, at least Ghostwatch, we had pipes appear throughout in very subtle ways.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
We'll try to point those out to you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Because allegedly there are 13 appearances of pipes. Although personally, I think the editors and the creators are kind of punking us to kind of keep looking. Like,
there's only they've only found 8.
8, maybe 9. I think there's like one that's really questionable.
Why am I having flashbacks to Tyler Durden?
Where do you think David Fincher got the idea?
But yeah, apparently I think they're really just punking us so we keep looking. To keep inquisitive, which actually is kind of a brilliant idea, and especially keeping with the number 13, like, oh, it's scary, but I think that's always really fun. So yeah, man, and the other weird thing that always struck me is, like, I actually like tried to show this to a few friends of mine one Halloween, and I'm like, this is one of the scariest movies ever made. Scared an entire nation. Oh my god, blah blah blah. And they were like bored about 20 minutes in, which I don't blame them, because it
starts really slow.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it's not until like the last 20 15 minutes where things like get really fucking scary. But yeah, it's like, guys, this is like a real slow burn. It's dedicated to the authenticity. Because like a lot of the times they're just like joking. The skepticism is very heavy in the air for it.
Yeah, and you really have to look at it within the time period. I mean, by today's standards, like, yes, it's fairly tame, but like 92 and their dedication and the way they put this out, like, you have to respect it.
And
it was total pioneering. Yeah. All right, guys.
Yeah, so I think we should probably cue it up. So I know that this is going to be really great, because I literally did this episode unabashedly to get more British followers, because I know that they've got it out there. But here in America, it's really hard to get. 'Cause even I had a hard time finding a copy with you, Dan. But I will just say, for anyone who's listening and who wants to find a copy, the internet is a magical place.
Go on. I'll send you the link. It's on archive.org. It's not hard to find.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
That's actually how I'm doing it, because, like I said, my copy's on mine's on a hard drive. It's not showing up currently.
All right. Well, either way, if it gets taken down for one reason or another, the internet is a very magical place, you guys.
All right.
So that said, once you got your copy, if you have a copy, whatever, we've got it queued up. Hopefully you guys got it queued up, because we are getting this bad boy started in 3, 2, 1, click.
Michael Parkinson in.
Yes. Now, okay, so we actually tried to get Stephen Volk, the writer of this, on here for the episode, like, because Dan, you actually mentioned you actually kind of know sort of the guy.
Yeah, we're friends on Facebook and Twitter. We've talked a couple times, and he's a very nice gentleman. I actually, took a long shot to ask if he wanted to be involved in the commentary, and he was very gracious and said, "Unfortunately, I'm already contracted to do a commentary, but I do appreciate the offer."
Yeah, which, Stephen, if you're listening, we really want to just express your grace and just our enthusiasm, us as fans, because this is just a wonderful, wonderful piece. And hopefully,
I love.
Yeah.
Well, I really love Stephen Volk, but don't also forget the really great work that Leslie Manning of the director did.
Yes.
I mean, they have done some amazing stuff. They've also done some other shows for the BBC, like Ghosts and the Story of Tracy Beaker. But the way that Leslie all mixes this up and makes it work together, cuts all the shows together. But what made this movie so unique at the time was how Stephen Volk got people to play themselves. Now, to our U.S. viewers, they may not understand this, but Michael Parkinson was an extremely well-respected interviewer.
Yes.
And newsman.
As well as Sarah Green.
Well, Sarah Green was also a children's host.
Yes.
She did Blue Peter for a number of years. Mike
Yes.
Smith, was her real life husband, was a presenter on Top of the Pops for many years, and Craig Charles is obviously known from Red Dwarf. But the thing is that imagine if Tom Brokaw, Betty Aberlin from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and like Adam Sandler, Adam Sandler, just got together and made a horror film. And they all played themselves, and they all played it straight like it was a documentary. That would totally mess with your minds. That's one reason why there was that national panic of BBC when the BBC aired this, because everyone, it was sort of like the War of the Worlds. They had the disclaimer in the front, but they didn't have the disclaimer all the way through. So if people didn't really know what was going on, they're like, "What? Michael Parkinson's in this? Oh,
yeah,
okay."
They just tuned in halfway through and be like, "Oh,
and
what's this?"
Just as a quick aside, I found out it was kind of interesting. Betty Aberlin, who played Lady Aberlin in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was the original choice for George Romero to play the female lead in Night of the Living Dead. And Mr. Rogers actually put a kibosh on that. he very much supported. Well, he very much supported George Romero because George Romero actually worked on the show in the early days.
Oh.
And he really wanted George to go and do this horror film, but he just felt he couldn't let this character who was so well loved be in a horror flick.
Yeah.
Which is almost like what happened here.
Yeah. Didn't want to scare the children too much.
All right. So there's Lynn Pascal, who's an actress. I believe her name is crap. I lost it.
That's okay.
I had all these saves loaded up, but she's a well-known BBC actress. Mm-hmm. So that was the first scene for people. Oh, this is fake.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the whole idea was like, people are going to tune into this, watch it for 10 minutes, and be like, look at their TV guides and be like, oh, it's just a drama.
Right.
But there's actually a really brilliant documentary called Behind the Curtains, Ghostwatch. It starts off with a little intro that says like, people won't really believe it until it's on television.
Yeah.
Which is
I've never seen it. I really wanted to, and then Tim found me a copy, so I'm downloading that right now.
Yep. This
was an actual phone number you could call, and there was a pre-recorded message saying, "Thank you for calling in for Ghostwatch. This is a mockumentary, or this is a staged show." But a lot of people called in, and they actually were able to record some of their ghost stories.
Yep. Unfortunately, yes.
Well, the idea behind Ghostwatch originally was it was going to be like an 8 or 10 part show.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like a mini series.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a mini series, and the idea behind it was they wanted to do a live broadcast in the vein of the Quatermass Experiment or Alan Quatermass in the Pit. But they decided it was just it's going to be six part with investigating the North London estate, adding various elements each week. And when the producer decided that he couldn't do an entire miniseries, instead recommended a 90-minute TV special, and Stephen Volk suggested they do the whole thing like episode 6, portraying it as an actual live broadcast.
Yeah.
And it's very. I got to give props to Sarah Green, Michael Parkinson, Craig Charles for agreeing to this.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's
really
really
kind of
played
amazing
on their...
that even BBC would actually get this shit off the ground. Because they were threatening to pull it like at the last minute.
But I'm happy they agreed to it. But I think more professionals should agree to this kind of stuff because it's like, why not have fun?
Yeah, exactly.
What they'll do is set up a national panic and get, ripped apart by the critics. That's why.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, look at stuff like, Blazing Saddles. He wanted John Wayne to play the part of that Gene Wilder played. How amazing would that have been? Like, stop worrying about your legacy and just have fun.
Yeah, especially when you're old, like by then,
Apparently Steven Spielberg wanted to have John Wayne play the general in 1941 as well, but he thought it was a very anti-American movie.
I mean, he's not totally wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Now there is some subtleties. I like the little ghost in the background there.
Oh, is there?
Well, it's above the the fireplace. It's like a spooky ghost in a sheet. It's like they're making fun of it.
Oh, okay. Right on.
And there's our first appearance of Sarah Green.
Yep.
Like I said, that she was very well known television for children in the BBC. BBC's been one of the Blue Peter's been one of the most longest running children's shows in the world. Now she's gonna tell a story later of an encounter she had with a ghost.
Yeah.
That actually happened.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. Originally, the script was only going to have Sarah Green in it, but she showed it to her husband, who's Mike Smith, and he was so enamored he begged to be on it. So they rewrote the script to make sure he could be in there. Plus, it adds a little bit more emotional tenacity by having a husband and wife.
For sure.
I mean, later on, when all hell breaks loose, imagine being the husband and seeing all this and can't do a damn thing.
Oh, I know, right? Well, I know that the original setup, a single mom, 2 daughters, it was based on the Enfield poltergeist event back in the 70s, which in itself also not only inspired this, but also The Conjuring 2. I haven't seen it, but apparently that's the case for all you horror fans out there. And yeah, explicitly, I'm doing this all this to hopefully gain more popularity towards it, because it's 2020. This should really have a major cult following, not just in Britain, but pretty much all of America and a whole bunch of other places.
Well, we have this done and linked up. I'll go ahead and send it to Stephen Volk, see if he's interested in sharing it.
Absolutely, because yeah, man. I mean, again, I would have loved to have some of the original cast members on here. Or just anyone really involved, writers, editors, whoever. And, maybe they can point out a sighting of pipes that we haven't seen.
But one thing I really am amused by all this is that you look at Ghostwatch, and then you look at all those paranormal shows that are out now, like Ghost Adventures and what is it, Ghost Hunters?
Yeah.
They all use the same setup.
Yeah. Well, you got to imagine this was such a cult thing that, it's going to spawn a lot of copycats because it's so original.
Yeah. Which is something that Sean was saying he had a problem with.
Well, I mean, I don't have so much a problem with ghost hunting genre. I have a problem with the found footage genre that spawned up from Blair Witch and other things that, came off of this. It's just ooh, those are not great films.
Yeah, most of them I'm not a fan of. I mean, found footage can work when it's done properly, I think. You have to really know what it is and what are some interesting ways you can actually play around with it. Things like even Cloverfield. I actually kind of like Cloverfield, despite
I honestly kept expecting this infrared camera to figure into the story. It never really did.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still
it's cool, but it's like Chekhov's gun. You show this and you expect to see something with the ghost. Now, again, they say that he may be in the pipes may be in that crowd.
Yeah,
we just can't
that's
quite
one
tell.
Of the maybes. Although it does have a really good payoff in the climax. But I also really do love the fact that they kept it so real that they even kept the timestamp 1992 October 31st.
Yep.
Just to really punch up the realism, because that really is the real achievement of this film, is the dedication to realism. Because they wanted Leslie Manning wanted absolute maximum impact, and Jesus Christ, did she deliver. But I still really wish I could, show this to some more friends of mine, because like I said, I showed this to a couple friends of mine for Halloween, and they're like, 20 minutes in, why this isn't scary, come on, let's get to it, because it's not a scare a minute kind of thing,
That's the problem with the movie is that for a lot of people is they want to be scared, they want the jump scares and everything else, and there really isn't one. Now, there is a jump scare coming up here, but it's basically done as a joke.
Yeah, which it's I actually do like that tongue-in-cheek moment.
And I prefer more atmospheric, slow build horror in general. Like that's more my vibe. So I mean, I'm willing to if something has a strong recommendation, I'm willing to tuck in and enjoy the experience.
Totally, because I prefer slow burn as well, because it's just more. It's just something you can really savor, because jump scares, especially when it's done so cheaply. It's like a cheat, it's like someone tickling you to make you laugh.
Yeah, that's like, one of my.
But you're so adorable when you laugh, Tim.
One of my one of my biggest pet peeves is auditory jump scares. It's like if you can only make me scared by like manipulating like the auditory noise, like if you can't do it with your visuals, then you're not making a good movie.
Boy, I don't think I've actually ever seen a really good jump scare without music or sound. Like, oh man, you know what? There's a challenge for any horror filmmakers out there. Do a jump scare, but do it with almost no sound.
Yeah.
And there are some. I think there was one in Insomnia.
Oh man, I have to go back and watch that again. I've seen it, but it's been like many years. I'll have to pop that one in.
Here's coming up. We're gonna be doing the first viewing of Pipes. Maybe a couple minutes, but we're gonna see it.
Yeah. And I also really love how they set up the whole thing where they're like, if you see something that we missed, you can call us in and let us know. Mm-hmm. So you can just jump into this kind of narrative because, obviously this phone call scripted and whatnot.
One of the things I found fascinating in this movie is they're going to show the sequence that they showed at the beginning where the girls are in bed and there's the curtain. And then they're going to show it again, but there's something subtly different, which obviously you'll see. But imagine, this is before the days of TiVo. This is before the days of, a lot of people probably didn't tape this.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it must have because it ended up being pirated. But you have to literally let the movie take you by the hand and lead you where it wants to go, as opposed to, immediately flipping back and going, oh, okay, I say that, what I see. But the thing is, you literally have to, if you miss something, you miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty amazing.
Yes. It's a wonderful little formatting
it's almost like
trick.
It's almost like a lost art.
Yeah. Because we live in such a streaming age where we can pause, we can rewind, we can zoom in, zoom out, things like that.
No, this is actually the joke that Leslie Manning. This is this jump scare coming up. Leslie Manning said that, and Stephen Volk said they wanted to do this just to get out of the way, just to say, okay, here's your jump scare. Are you happy now?
But I do enjoy the little tongue-in-cheek flavor of it, because they're like, jump scare, Halloween, it's funny, you know, and it adds to that, like I said, there's a real skepticism to the air for these people, which further ingrains the realism later when all hell breaks loose.
Michael Parkinson's almost just like, okay, I can't believe I'm doing this. Who is this woman that is who's this doctor who's so earnest about what she's seeing, and he refuses to ever believe until obviously later on. But I mean, this is all just played for laughs for the most part.
Yeah.
And then it gets really, really terrifying.
well, I mean, that's the genius of it. The laughs totally disarm you for what's coming.
I think I just wonder if anyone it's like watching this commentary with Ghostwatch for the first time. It's like, okay, you keep talking about how terrifying this movie is. What's going on? There's nothing terrifying about this at all.
In all fairness, for any listeners who watch these, almost 9 times out of 10, I recommend that you watch the movie first and then come and watch our show. But whatever, it's your choice. I mean, I don't care. Just more subscribers for me.
Please subscribe, all of you, forever. Tell your friends.
Subscribe, you cowards.
Hire a skywriter. Pony Express, homing pigeons, whatever.
Yep.
Let's get the word out.
Boy, I also really this really takes me back to my film school days where we were shooting in, small cramped apartments, And we had wires and cameras and sound equipment running through, and everyone's going up the stairs, and shit's blocking the way. And I actually like that we kind of have that sense of, the claustrophobia in terms of working, with a film crew in a small house.
Yeah.
Oh yes, this is where they kind of talk about where the strange anomalies that have been going on, and
this is where the story. This is where the name of the ghost Pipes comes up.
Which, can we just say, is just like one of the most ingenious bits of writing, I think, for this. Like, because pipes, I'm like, oh, it's just pipes, but it manifests as its own little spirit, which I'm like, that's so brilliant. That's something Spielberg was like, fuck, I wish I wrote that back in 82.
Like Poltergeist.
Yeah, like I honestly feel like, Spielberg, if Spielberg ever did like wind up watching this, I feel like he would have been like, fuck, I should have wrote that in my script.
Some people complain about these kids acting, and like they're doing the best they can. They're young actors and actresses.
Are you kidding me? I think they're great.
I thought they were fine.
Yeah, that's one of the criticisms I read.
Snobs. They just like to pick on children.
Yeah.
I mean, because to be honest, like do the kids like? Do I still believe it? Like, yeah. And as a matter of fact, there's like 20,000 other people who are like, I fucking believed it when it was on. Because I still, like, every time I watch it, I'm always in that mindset of that night in 1992. Because, I was born in 93, so obviously a little young for this. But
yeah, I never heard, like I said, I probably would have watched it because I was already in college by that point. But because I'm old.
Yes, you are.
Fuck off. I also love the fact that this door is called a glory hole, which has a completely different connotation in the United States.
Yeah, it's a thing.
There's a picture. Let's see what we got here. He looks like Cthulhu wearing a dress. Sorry, I'm actually caught in watching the movie now.
I know, right? Well, that's one of the things. Like, it's so fascinating to listen to, especially when they break out some of the stories.
Well, the sound design is really good, and you can also. I love the fact that they're showing the boom mic in the shot. And, you can hear the everything that it's all shot within camera, within the boom mic. So they deliberately did not remix the sound effects.
Yeah. Well, actually, didn't. Now I could be wrong. I forget because there was one in the documentary. They mentioned that they actually got the sound designer for Lawrence of Arabia to do the sound, like the creepy sound effects.
Wow, I was unaware of that.
I mean,
yeah.
To be fair, though, how much better would the sound have been had they been allowed to do what they wanted to do?
Yeah.
Like, because they wanted to have a high frequency pitch to it that would make pets go crazy while people watched it.
Oh, see, now, like, I know that they tried and experimented, and it just was technically impossible.
Yeah, because of the way the broadcasts are actually done, so they didn't even end up recording it that way. But how brilliant would it have been if that was possible?
Okay, here we go.
Man.
Here we go, guys.
Yeah.
First episode, first viewing of Pipes.
Yeah.
You can already still see him.
Well, just barely. And that's the really cool part, is that if you actually rewind and go to the beginning of the movie,
he's not there.
You see that, yeah, he's not. Mm-hmm. It's totally just a manipulation thing. They're manipulating you. That's all editing is.
And it's hilarious because obviously we as the audience can see it, but Michael Parkinson and the doctor are deliberately ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really clever design. They're like, oh, yeah. It's just, oh, then wait. Suddenly it's gone again.
Yep.
Very Did I just
curious.
see that or not?
Exactly. And again, remember, we can't. This is before reality TV, before streaming TiVo, whatever. You can't rewind that shit, man. You can't rewind TV.
Get back in here! They're showing the. Can you imagine someone trying to go get a soda or something, and then comes back and like, what did I miss? I don't know.
I think there was something. Oh, and then we got the little sports thing going on.
Oh God, prime '90s technology there.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. And I love how they deliberately pull the pipes out of the image and have her retrace it, where you're not quite sure. There's just the subtlety is handled so well.
Yeah.
Which is also a really good tie-in for psychology right there.
Yeah, it's a term for that. It's called matrixing.
Yeah,
you can see human faces and a bunch of stuff. Which is one problem a lot of people have with paranormal investigation is that, did something actually appear, or is it just a subtle look of light and shading?
Now, I'm actually curious because I remember you actually telling me of a little ghost hunting weird story that you encountered, Dan. So
Which
since
one?
It's Halloween, it was the one with Alice the Theater Ghost of Bowling Green.
Yes.
So
years ago, we're talking. Yeah, all right, real quick thing. Back in the mid '90s, I was a college student at BJSU, and a buddy of mine called me up in the middle of the night because they had to do sound effects for a show called The Death and Life of Sherlock Holmes. So I was like, okay, whatever. I've got nothing else to go. So I stuffed all my stuff in my bag and I booked over on my bike. Got to Eva Marie Saint Theater, middle of the night, and we started recording the sound effects. And we're using basically an 8-track, because we're using the 8-track reel-to-reel tapes because that's the best thing out there. And we played back what we had, and we was like a phone call and a gunshot, things like that. And it sounded terrible. I couldn't figure out why, because we used brand new virgin tape. We did all the special effects, but then we started hearing a weird voice underneath. So we using the mixing board, we mixed out tracks. And one of the tracks, there was a woman's voice very gently saying what sounded like Shakespeare. And it turns out it was Ophelia from Hamlet. And the story is that Alice the Theater Ghost had died before she got to perform Ophelia in BJSU back in the 20s. So we freaked out, and I went and played it back again. The voice had disappeared, and all the sounds sounded perfect. So it freaked us out.
That was really cool. I've actually subsequently made a little short film about Alice the Theater Ghost, and if you want, I can link that in the description for you guys.
I've seen that. It was really good.
Thank you. But yeah, now in speaking of weird paranormal anomalies, now we've been going through old stuff through the house and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
building up the lore.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I know all you British folk are like, oh my god, you stupid American snobs. But dude, really, do we really have to explain what glory hole means to you for us over here? I know it's kind of casual for you over there, but it's for us Americans, there are, the little 17-year-old in us is like, hee.
If you even know what you're 17-year-old, if you know what that is. Remember, I didn't have the internet growing up.
No wonder this movie traumatized children.
Remember, I grew up. I grew up without the internet. I had to get my porn honestly. I stole it.
The good old days.
Tough growing up. Yep. It was tough growing up in the times of dial-up or pre-dial-up.
Oh yeah, I had to sneak into newsstands and look as innocent as possible while I'm grabbing a copy of Jugs.
Oh, see, we had a 2 method going. My friend would distract the clerk while one of us would distract the clerk, the other one would steal the magazine.
Oh God, no! I would never share that shit with my friends. I was too embarrassed.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Now I don't give a shit. I'm like, yeah, you've seen my hard drive. You know what I enjoy. I could not care less. But back then, I'm like, I gotta hide this. Like, I'd be underneath my mattress and hiding it from everybody. Then, of course, I went to summer camp. My mom found it and threw it all out.
Right. Well, the thing about Ghostwatch now, you guys, is like I feel like everyone listening at home on Halloween is like, man, these fuckers are weird.
Why is the old man talking about his porn fetish?
I mean, we do decide to do movie commentaries just for shits and giggles. Yeah,
oh god,
very true.
I'm so weird. I'm sorry. This is the first time to anyone that's listening. This is the first time I'm using a microphone, a specific microphone. I normally have a headset, a microphone. So I keep reaching up to readjust my my microphone headset. And it's not there anymore. It just makes me feel weird.
Yep. We got another call.
Yep. Here's the a little bit more lore building.
Yeah.
The story of this. By the way, if anyone gets a chance, another really great BBC production, slow burn film is called Stone Tapes.
Okay.
It's kind of I think it was written by Nigel Neves, which he also wrote Quartermass in the Pit, which inspired all this. It was a great ghost story.
Well, as my hero Captain America says, I'll put it on the list.
Okay.
Now that book is fake, right?
The book is fake. The picture that they're showing is inspired by a famous shot from the Enfield poltergeist. So one of the girls supposedly levitating. So if you look at it, she looks like she's flying, just jumping.
Oh, well, and that's trick photography, fast shutter speed, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, and this is they're showing all the research they did to the little girl, like putting things in her mouth so the voice couldn't come out, and it's all based on the Enfield poltergeist. It turns out that most of it could have been faked.
Yep. However, watching this for the first time, I got real reminders of the original Exorcist.
Yeah.
Because, people like to talk about, like the exorcism sequence is terrifying and all, but some of the things that really made people faint were the medical treatments.
Mm. Yeah. Now, this was really hard for me to understand what they were saying. And basically, I think the ghost is doing a nursery rhyme.
Yeah. Because that nursery rhyme comes back in a big, bad way.
Yeah, but it's also a British nursery rhyme, so it's not really known in the United States. Okay.
And just when you listen to this, like, just the recording on itself, you're just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What's going on?
Yeah, like, because I remember, like, when you're just watching it alone and it's totally quiet, no music, it's like, dear God, the tension is so intense. And I do love this whole effect where they
another subtle vision of pipes.
Yeah, where they dim the studio. Oh man, those sounds. This is what Halloween movies are for.
Apparently, this is the voice of Leslie Manning, the director, because the voice actor they got couldn't do exactly what Leslie wanted him to do.
Yep. And then look over her shoulder. There's pipes.
Yep, very subtle.
And I love the people that are like, "Oh my God, look behind you!" It's just like because I believe they got like 30,000 calls in an hour from this broadcast, which God, you can only imagine. And the worst part is, like, only those who they were able to pick up were able to be like, "Oh yeah, this is just not real," and everything. Everyone else just got a busy signal, which added to the realism.
It jammed the call boards.
Yep. And a lot of people forget too, like like when you hear like, "Oh, it's War of the Worlds," but on TV, like, "Oh, so they actually did this all live, right?" No, they shot all of this like weeks in advance, months in advance. But the best part is that it was almost exclusively shot on videotape and not film.
Yeah,
that adds that.
Well, having grown up in the 80s and 90s, I remember all these shows like The Hunt for Jack the Ripper or The Manson Family 20 Years On. And this is exactly how it looked.
Oh, yeah.
Videotapes with the backgrounds with the pictures on the walls of like Charlie Manson and Sharon Tate, or Jack the Ripper lurking in the darkness. Woo! This is exactly how this stuff looked.
Yes.
And here's the broken pottery, which is like you can tell Michael Parkinson's just like not buying it as a character. He's like, whatever.
Yeah, man, he really knows how to sell this. I remember in an interview that he actually said it was one of the more interesting roles he's ever taken, despite the fact that it was technically himself.
Yeah.
Because all the actors really talked about this whole thing where, the watches stop whenever shit happens, which so cool. Oh look, there is no spoon.
Oh yeah, the bent spoons. Apparently, in the Enfield poltergeist case, one of the girls was found trying to fake the bent spoons, which is for those that are follow the paranormal, that was a big deal of Uri Geller, a so-called psychic who was really huge in the 70s, and Johnny Carson called him the fuck out. And still, I mean, it should have been the end of it. But as we've seen in politics these days, just because you prove someone an idiot doesn't mean you're going to be stopping them. God damn it. We're not going to mention that name. I refuse. A ban right there. Blink. Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they always talk, all the actors, including Michael Parkinson, were like, this is a really interesting role because, we're playing ourselves, but this is all scripted. So we have to get lost in the script and try to figure out what we ourselves would act in a situation like this, but still stay true to the written word, but ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Oh, these cat scratch. The makeup is wonderful.
It's very subtle.
Yes. Because I remember the makeup artist describing that they needed to do they looked at a lot of cat scratches and they realized they all weren't completely straight. They were very inconsistent, and blood tended to bubble in places and just kind of heal quickly in others. So that inconsistency, oh man, dude, the makeup was amazing. That makeup is still really amazing because I have a cat, and she. I like to pick her up because she's so small and cute and lovable. But every once in a while, she'll just be like, "No, Dad, no." And I'll walk away and I'll be like, "Oh, hey, there's a scratch. She got me." So I've seen many of them.
Well, in paranormal cases of poltergeists, as they mentioned, young women tend to be the focus of whatever the poltergeist activity is. That's actually what happened to my sister. She doesn't mind me telling the story, but
I haven't heard this story. Please tell.
I was like 10 years old. She's 4 years older than I am. So she's going through puberty. I'm like 8 or 9. And of course, I'm the annoying younger brother. So I'm annoying the snot out of her. And she screamed at me to get out of my room. And at that moment, a hairbrush flew off her dresser and launched itself at my head. And I ran away screaming.
You sure that wasn't her?
That was her. That was a poltergeist. And other things had happened went along as well. I mean, glasses would move. For the most part, they kept it down because this is the joke in my family. My father was a sensitive. My sister is a sensitive. I don't see anything. My mom won't put up with that shit. I'm not even joking. She literally will not put up with anything in her house. No ghosts, no demons, nothing like that. She's basically, if you want to believe in God or healing spiritual, or she's got this whole ring of power around this house. It's like, if you're a ghost, you get out. When my sister got on her own, her apartments were always having problems and ghosts and shit. And my mother would walk in going, "You get out of here," and they'd leave. They would just flat leave.
Knowing your mom, I believe it. So are you just like low key trying to pitch a ghost show, Dan?
What do you mean?
Are you? Because you seem to have a lot of experience with this.
I wouldn't mind doing one, but actually, one of the things I wanted to do, we'll talk about after the show, because I am coming to visit you in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to film me making the bison steaks.
Deal.
Yeah, we'll stream it on YouTube or something.
For sure. But anyway,
I just want to talk about that. I want to talk about the actress that's doing this doctor. She's very knowledgeable, but at the same time, you can tell she's struggling, especially against this guy.
Yeah.
She's almost like she has to keep convincing herself that all this crazy shit's going on. And because she knows that her evidence is so tenuous.
Yeah.
And I don't even know who this actor is, but I know he's British, and I love the fact that he's doing an American accent and doing it so terribly.
It almost, when I first watched this, I was just like, are you trying to channel Jeff Goldblum? Like, that was really the impression I had.
And also the background.
Oh my god,
is
I can totally hear it now.
And it's also hilarious because obviously it's obviously with a set with a stupid, pasted on picture of New York City behind him. It's like, I'm really filming this from another movie. No, it's a freaking not even a very good picture.
I think that's kind of the joke, that they're like, oh, they look at that. I'm like, wait a minute. People are gonna look at their TV guide and be like, oh, it's a dramatization. But sadly, people, when watching TV, especially a well-respected channel like BBC, because I think the joke was like this. Why did so many people believe this? This was on BBC and not Channel 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just got your message.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. Anyway, so crap. Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, right. So now they're playing the games.
Yeah. Looks
like
they're playing Sorry.
I believe we're about to have like another event coming up.
Yeah. Oh, this is the story I was talking about earlier. Sarah Green. This actually happened to Sarah Green.
Really?
Yeah. The little girl's just is apparently playing the game in the background, but she's not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look busy, young lady. Okay.
Well, either way, I still love the fact that, despite the fact this was all filmed in advance, with multiple takes and all that sort of thing, it totally feels like this could have been pulled off as a live show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now I do forget. Now I know the stuff on location was shot, months in advance, but was the studio stuff also shot in advance as well? I believe.
Yeah, everything was shot in advance.
Okay.
But no, it's always the way this slow build works for me is it reminds me of like all those dumb broadcasts when I was in the 80s and 90s, like when Geraldo Rivera opened up Al Capone's vault.
Right.
I mean, it was a build up, and then there was no payoff. This is very similar because it's like the build up, but then suddenly when we get there,
holy crap, a payoff.
Yeah.
Like a payoff where you're like, ha, good luck sleeping tonight, kids.
The best thing to come out of that vault reveal was Weird Al's parody of it.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of kids, like apparently a lot of kids were totally traumatized by this. Like,
like PTSD, yeah, like legit.
Yeah.
It's actually the first television show that legitimately caused PTSD.
Yeah, it's in the British Medical Journal for having caused post-traumatic stress disorder in kids.
Unfortunately, there was one young man who was very troubled, had a history of mental illness, and he did kill himself after seeing this.
About 5 days after the fact, which was like so fucked up.
And there's also one woman who demanded that who said it was so scary her husband soiled himself, and she demanded a brand new pair of pants.
Yes. He and even crazier, that guy was in the British Navy too.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. This movie like legit scared like a shitload of people.
Yeah.
But I will say this: that must have been a really fucking great Halloween, especially for kids. Like, can you imagine, like, just going out trick or treating, having a merry old time? You're chomping down on your candy. This comes on. Your parents start watching, and you all fucking freak out and don't sleep for the next week. Like, what a great Halloween.
Yay!
Well, I mean, I always said Halloween is about 5 things: candy till you puke, dressing up in costumes and trying to upstage one another, gore-tastic, creative Halloween decorations, watching scary movies, and of course, scaring the living shit out of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Halloween's all about. Oh yeah, and I guess collectively you could say just in 2 words: pure evil.
I just want to say that Sarah Green really is the hero of all this.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the one on the ground doing all the grunt work, and plus you got the sound man and the cameraman who really don't do a lot, but she's the one that's interacting with everything. She's the one that's talking to the mom. I mean, Michael Parkinson's back in the studio. He's talking to the doctor, and he's has that kind of bored indifference that British broadcasters have. But she's really doing a lot here.
Yeah.
She gives a Herculean performance here.
Yeah, and I mean they set it up so well, like establishing her as her, with her doing the kid stuff early on and the interaction, but yeah, I mean she just really keeps the realism and turns it up. It's great.
And also, and what again
tiny
also
fridge
really adds to it, yes. Although it's a normal fridge for college
kids.
This
is actually what's called council housing in Britain. It's basically for low income families that want a nice place to live. And the places are not bad, but as you can see, it's not nearly what we do in the United States. I mean, the washer dryer is in the kitchen.
But I do. But you mentioned that Sarah Green is kind of the hero of the story and whatnot. But what I really love is especially the kind of like giddy excitement and with like half a foot in skepticism. Like she's like, yeah, maybe this will be fun. Like maybe we'll be like, ooh, there's a little little scary thing. How cool is that? Tee, let's go home now. That'll be it. But oh geez, she just gets like as the series progresses, like you could see her when she was trying to just pour herself a cup of tea, where she's just like, I'm starting to lose it, man. Like this is good. I'm in over my head here.
This is not working out well for us kids.
Yep. Also, this was like one of the first. I also really love that they're taking just any instances of actual live television. Like blurring out the face like we have here, the pixelation, because this was like a fairly new concept by then.
Yeah.
But they were using these kind of techniques to just really seep it in, and that's what that's what found footage really needs to do. Use the format creatively, and not just make it. Don't make it cheap. Make it creative.
My computer is heating up, so it's getting louder. I'm actually noticing it's on the recording. So, sorry guys, I don't have the greatest recording setup, but...
it's fine. I mean,
it's fine.
These guys don't have the greatest recording setup either, so...
We do what we do.
Yes.
Okay, is there something to our British viewers is why they really like American football teams or sports teams? I mean, it's rare over here we see anyone wearing Arsenal T-shirts and such, but I always see British celebrities wearing like Chicago Bulls or NFL.
Yeah.
Is that a big thing over there? I don't even know if you guys watch like football and such.
I thought they were into actual football, soccer.
Exactly.
I guess maybe it was a thing like the '90s. Like you ever heard of the Dream Team? Like that was kind of a big thing. Like
okay, watch very carefully.
Maybe... Oh yeah, well it's coming up after this interview with the two ladies.
Oh, it comes up.
I know what you're getting.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because there's another side
of
the
pipes. Such a horrible story.
This
is also just a horrible story she's telling.
Oh, I know, with the dead dogs and the fetuses scattered everywhere.
Totally brings it's so skillful how it brings down Craig Charles' excitement.
Yes,
it's just like yeah, dead fetuses. What?
Yeah, well, that's the genius of it, because the pacing of it is like let's not build it up with suspense, but let's like disarm the audience with some humor, with some lighthearted fun, and then when we pull your ears back, it hurts even more. like I mentioned The Exorcist and how the poltergeist event, and how some of the stuff reminded me of. But William Friedkin kind of does a similar technique where he constantly builds tension in these slow, quiet moments, and then when it seems to have dissolved and everything appears to be calm, then he pulls your ears back.
Yeah.
Like that's the genius of the pacing. So, and it's done similar here, but they, instead of using very quiet tense moments and then kind of get everything kind of quaint, they like using humor, which I think is actually an even more effective technique.
Mm.
Okay, so yeah, I know this is the part where you were like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, but yeah, look closely in the crowd. There he is in the background.
Yep, very simple, very quick shot there.
Oh, because that's the genius of it. You're constantly asking questions. Did I just see what I saw?
Mm-hmm.
And hell, we often talk about how like it's really cool, like when they do shit like that and they manipulate you by showing you only in the instance of.
Okay, but, I'm really sorry. I have to pee again. I'll be right back.
Okay. But I did tell him, like, there are moments where I'm like, it's actually cooler now that we can, go back and pause and look for things.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's, I guess it becomes like a very, extended Zapruder film kind of thing going. I'm sure there's some hardcore fan out there who watched the original version, who has like frame markers and is going through every little frame trying to find it. There's got to be at least one person out there
for
doing
sure.
that.
Well, I mean, that kind of stuff is kind of fun, and particularly, I enjoy when they do that with films. I mean, I saw Fight Club multiple times in theaters, and we were always trying to, like, once we realized, like, oh, like, there's these flashes, how many can we catch?
Yeah. Oh, shit. What we got inside the house? It's a crop. It's like a crop circle, but with the carpet.
I swear to God, I got the bladder of a 78-year-old woman. Oh.
But yeah, we just got in. We're seeing this this wet spot on the carpet.
Yeah.
Perfect circle, which I'm like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Like it reminds me of like the crop circle phenomena.
Mm-hmm. I didn't do a lot of research on that, but apparently that is a common thing that happens in some hauntings.
Really?
It's a manifestation.
Uh-huh. So random water manifestations?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And again, the approach is totally clinical here. That's so wonderful. Because can you just kind of see the look behind Sarah Green's eyes, where she's like,
something
this is
weird. Yeah.
Well, I love the fear building behind her eyes. Like, this is not right. I'm starting to get a little bit in over my head here.
I kind of want a Ghostwatch t-shirt.
Oh my God, how cool would it be to have one of those shirts? I feel like it'd be like a cool relic to have, like one of the coolest relics, like from the late 80s that's kind of niche. I've always wanted to have the Joker Goon jacket from 1989 Batman.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would love to have me a jacket like that. And now that you mention, I'm like, oh my God, how cool would it be to have a fucking official Ghostwatch t-shirt? Shit, dude. You know what? I gotta Google, see if they're actually available, because I'm like, shit, this is almost worth the splurge. Because, goddamn. Okay, I think this might be the moment where we see another sighting.
Yep. That's pipes. Sighting of pipes.
Yep. Oh, quite literally, the pipes are haunting.
Yeah.
I promise it's just pipes. Okay, no, it's not, because this is. I guess it's a little bit later on, because there is a moment where she's like picking up drawings that the kids.
We'll point it out, but that legitimately, that was actually the first moment in the movie I legitimately jumped.
Oh, cool. By the way, there are Ghostwatch t-shirts, which I'm like, fuck, I actually might get one of these days.
Yeah, send me that link.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe maybe to the listener out there who can spot all 8 supposed sightings of pipes in this, if you can point them out, like in the comments.
Yeah.
And if you point them out correctly, maybe I'll send you guys a free T-shirt.
Yeah, but the problem is there's always all those sightings are already available online.
Oh, actually, you know what? Better yet, if you can find all 13 correctly.
if you can at least find 10, I will kick in for that shirt.
Deal. All right, that's the thing. If you guys can find at least 10, if you can find all 13, then you've officially got it. But if you can find 10 sightings of pipes in this movie, just put them in the comments. We'll send you a free T-shirt. The free Ghostwatch T-shirt too.
Look at Michael Parkinson. He's like not buying this shit.
I know, right? I love the fact that he really doesn't buy it all the way to the very end, almost.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually shared with me, but there's actually a quote-unquote sequel to this?
Yes. It's called 31/10, and it was written by Stephen Volk as a short story, basically talking about the 10th anniversary of Ghostwatch and all the repercussions and ramifications. That,
in-universe, like, if it actually was real.
Right. It's actually a very terrifying short story. I'm not going to talk about it because it'll give way too many spoilers. We'll talk about that later after the show's over.
Yeah. Because it's you actually sent me a PDF, and I gave it a quick skim, and it's Jesus Christ, like just some of the few like paragraphs. I'm like, well, that's not scary at all.
Okay, we're getting the last half hour here. Things are really starting to heat up.
Yep. But again, like the claustrophobia, the fact that you have to get around shit and up and around, and everything's really claustrophobic, and you've got all these people in here for the show. But yeah, this is the point.
Yeah.
Because I actually really do love this whole lead-in.
Now watch that back window.
But I also really love the framing where the cat pops in. That was really good. But then right there, half a second, blink and you'll miss it, but he was in the reflection.
Oh, yeah, that, like I said, that was the first legitimate moment. I'm like, oh my God. And Sarah's really selling this. She's like, okay, there is something going on. I'm a little terrified.
Mm-hmm. This actually reminds me of when I actually pulled a Halloween prank on some friends, because you mentioned the Alice the Theater Ghost, which is a local legend of Bowling Green State University where we both went.
Yeah.
I actually had a couple of friends who were also familiar with the legend, but at the same time I was working on a short film for my college professor, Beneath the Crawl Space, and I was making sound effects for the underworld. And so I had a long track of just bass sounds that got louder and louder and louder. But I played them in a hidden spot from my laptop, and I brought them in for a ghost tour. And they were like, what's going on? Like, this is so creepy. And, like, as soon as they found the speaker, I'm like, you should have seen your face. So good.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
That that was one of the cases with the Enfield poltergeist, is that the kids were caught doing things because I think they were just expected to do it. They were just, they they not so much they wanted the attention, is that these adults were putting so much pressure on them to prove the existence of paranormal that the kids were just performing.
However, the whole presentation of it all is
and you can
so
see
disturbing. You're not sure.
And the doctor's reaction.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Michael Parkin's like, whatever.
Such a professional.
Yeah. He just looks tired. He just looks very lazy and tired. He's like, oh, whatever.
This is how I'm spending my Halloween. Oh, Jesus Christ! I hope I get a nice little bonus for this.
At least I'm getting paid.
I could be home having a cocktail with my wife and maybe having a little conversation with some close friends. But no, I'm here talking to an idiot who thinks that she's a doctor.
I'm just still kind of surprised that even now, as we're recording this, Michael Parkinson is still going.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the only one I think Mike Smith passed away a couple years ago, though. Sadly enough.
Yeah. I think he was in his mid-50s by then, which is kind of sad.
He was married to Sarah Green for many years, so.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying so hard to prove it.
I know, right?
Like I said, Michael's just like, whatever.
And, I actually still love that because that there are conflicting views and contradicting things, you don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
And that adds such an extra level of anxiety where you're not sure if these girls are just like acting things out for ratings and things like that, or if it's like actually genuine. Even within just, even if it's already fake, but when you still get into that, you can still have that kind of anxiety. Like, is she faking it, or is it just actually a thing? I mean, obviously we kind of know by the end that it's kind of a thing, but even like a casual viewer who hasn't seen this before, and like, we explain the background and whatnot, you're like, holy shit. Like, what the hell's going on? I think that's probably one of the best things you can do in any horror movie. Because I know I keep bringing up The Exorcist, but fuck you, The Exorcist is probably the greatest horror movie I've ever seen, bar none. But it's the fact that, movies like this and The Exorcist, one of the great things that keeps it terrifying is that they use logic, science, evidence to try to disprove it. But when they can't, and all the evidence of your eyes and ears point to something supernatural, to something that you can't explain, makes that all the more scary, Sorry,
I'm just enjoying Dr. Silvestri because he makes me laugh.
You mentioned the fact that he's channeling Jeff Goldblum, and now I fucking can't unhear it.
Yeah, same here now. I'm like, oh crap.
Son of a bitch.
You must have watched some Goldblum films. Like, oh, this will be a good accent to do.
Actually, you know what? They should have just gotten fucking Jeff Goldblum. I mean, this is '92, so he was. This was like him right before he actually got big. Of course, we probably would have been.
He was relatively big by that. He was actually relatively big by that point. He was already in David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Yeah, he was big in the '80s.
That's very true.
It was only in the '90s he almost became so huge he was a meme.
It still would have been funny to just see him go, well, I don't think so, because, life finds a way. Oh, wait, no, that's 93. Ghosts find a way. Oh, that poor phone line. So you mentioned that you kind of talked to Stephen Volk a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm actually curious. Did he like take some of these ghost stories that they have there, based off of like some folklore around British and British folklore and
Hold on,
folk,
I'm not
folk
sure I
stories
understand
and outside
the
legend?
stories that people are telling here.
Yeah.
Oh, these are actual stories.
Oh, are
Yeah.
they? Okay, right on.
Yeah, they actually got real people to tell their ghost stories.
Right on.
It helped to lend the authenticity.
Yeah, so
That's
like
cool.
whether or not these are like obviously real, but the people who are telling them believe they are, and that is important.
Exactly. And they just interspersed that here to make a little more. The hell?
Oh shit.
Oh, God! Imagine back when they still had video cassette tape.
Oh, I know, right?
There's
The
just
good
some.
old days.
Just as an aside, there is something. There's a satisfying sound when you pop a VHS and tape in and hear it whir up. Ugh, I miss those sounds.
You remember those kids? Good times.
Yep.
Oh, the poor Zoomers that never even experienced DVDs.
Ugh.
Can you imagine?
Well, some people I've talked to like, oh, I don't have Blu-rays or DVDs. I've got everything streaming. I'm like, you don't own physical media,
Right?
What happens when what happens when Hulu or Netflix loses their licensing? Oh, I'm sorry. I've got well over probably 1,000 hours of stuff that I can pop in and watch at any point. So yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
I want to be buried in a time capsule with a working Blu-ray player when I would die. So I'll mark it and say, "Open this in 1,000 years" or something.
We'll make sure to seal it airtight so you look preserved, and then it'll be like that moment in Crystal Skull where they open it up and air doesn't agree with them.
Crunch.
Oh yeah, so now we're getting our first hints that this event might not just be from the house. But yeah, I love how like the entity is spreading through the television. Like,
the idea of a nationwide seance.
That's such a cool way to as a climax. But I really would love to see what the other episodes that Stephen Volk wrote for these. I wonder what the others would be.
I'm not sure I actually ever got around to writing them, but they probably had a treatment about it.
Well, even then, I would love to see what he had in mind, because again, the setup, the payoff, and the direction is all masterfully done. Because again, the pipe, just like the sheer naming of pipes, is something that I know Spielberg, would be kicking himself about.
It's a simple word, but it works so beautifully.
Yes, but the best part is that the idea genuinely feels like it came from the mind of a child.
Yeah.
And Spielberg has always been has handled children in his movies very extensively, and very with great eloquence.
He's got to be one of the best directors for children.
Yes.
And also, just props to him for never having one whiff of scandal.
Oh, I know, right?
I mean, all these years of working with kids, and so many other actors and actresses, there's something underlying current. I've never heard one bad thing about Spielberg.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Spielberg is just such a genuine human being. From what I'm told, like anyone who meets him, they're always told like, wow, he was unnaturally nice, especially for someone who works that high up in the business.
He is my favorite director. I mean, I've never seen a Spielberg movie I couldn't find something to appreciate.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
not all of them are gold, but like a bad Spielberg movie is better than so many other movies that it's still a very good movie.
There's always something remarkable, even in his lesser movies.
I mean, I still love 1941. I think it's his biggest bomb, but I think it's hilarious. And he got to do a whole big musical sequence. So why wouldn't you like that?
Of course, it was him being, very self-indulgent, but he was kind of allowed to do that because he just got off the hot success of Jaws.
Yeah, that was, as he admits himself, he had a lot of hubris that he worked through.
Yep. And thankfully, he bounced right back with, Close Encounters and Raiders of the Lost Ark right after that.
Oh, yeah. Kitty.
Oh, the cat sounds. The cat sounds genuinely terrify me in this. Because, I am a cat owner. She's a total sweetheart. But there are times where I'm like looking at her after watching this where I get just a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, was this? I heard someone say that humans are the only animals that kill for pleasure. I'm like, you don't own a cat, do you?
Yeah. Oh, dude, the scratches.
Okay, I think this is a sequence here. The problem is it's such a tight set. It's what you think is about to happen because you've seen it before may not actually be happening.
Yeah. I actually did watch this in my office again the other night just to kind of refresh my memory.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever the cat noises came out, because mine will just be like sitting in the corner just kind of relaxing. But anytime those cat noises came out, she got up like looking around and like, what the hell is going on? Like even the poor cat was getting stressed out.
Yep. Look at that tiny bathroom.
I know, right?
Sorry, kind of reminds me of like the bathroom in my aunt's house.
Oh, see, I missed that. Was there a sighting there?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, so they're just like it's just a little bit more.
A lot of
misdirection, but in really clever ways.
Yeah.
Because by now, like the suspense is really starting to build. Because we're in the final 22 minutes of this.
Oh yeah, we are coming down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta get some more comfortable headphones. These ones are like really hurting my ears after a while. No offense. Maybe I'll have to look around and see if I can find a better pair.
Either that or you just have like a really fat head.
Well, it's my glasses more than it. Well, the thing is, all three of us have glasses, but mine are like digging behind my ears. This is one reason I didn't want to do the podcast with you, Tim. Is like I get a headache by the end of all this.
Oh, dude, those scratches.
Now even Michael's trying to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Parkinson's like,
for any of those critics who thought the kid was doing like a bad job, I'm sorry, but this scene completely immersed me because
when she gets touches and she has a full body jerk, that's hard to do,
right? The twitches are really hard to do, but Jesus Christ, are those scary? Because anytime they get like of a real close up of those, I'm just like at the edge of my seat, literally at the edge of my seat. Oh yes.
I love the look on Mike's face. He's like, "This is getting serious. I worry about my wife."
I think that's another thing that I really love about this movie. Go
ahead.
The movie Poltergeist. Like
yes.
One of the best things I loved about that original film is the fact that a lot of it's in whispers. It's not a lot of screams. It's very quiet and very, very down low and that sort of thing. And
until you get to the end of it, it goes batshit insane.
Exactly. Which, but I love the fact that because it has the tone of telling a scary story to a child before they go to bed. Just like you would, you're tucking your kid into bed. It's Halloween night, and like you want to hear a scary story, and any of those, some of those phone calls and some of the background or the ghost stories that they kind of pepper throughout this, it feels like those. It feels like a little like these little vignettes of bedtime stories.
Hey, look in the background. I guess it's got a seal of approval.
It what?
A seal of approval. The picture of the seal. I was making a bad pun.
You're fired. Get off my show.
You want to talk about the seal, but you don't want to talk about crisscross?
Crisscross will make you jump. Please don't demonetize this.
Oh shit! Did you see that?
There it is.
Yeah, he like as they pan around and then they whip back.
That is just, I don't know how they did that really, because they must have dropped him like a freaking rock.
Honestly, what I guess is it's actually 2 shots. They just
edited
the
stitched it together. Okay.
Yeah,
because you can hide a lot of editing in a pan shot.
Yes, that would be my guess. But again, like you said, they could have just had him stand there and then just drop like a rock. But either way, it's so scary.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, now this is the moment where I was explicitly reminded of War of the Worlds. It's around the halfway point, right after they announce Martians are taking over, like the attacks the attacks are coming in. But there's a moment where it's like bulletins too numerous to read are piling up in the studio here.
Yeah, I mean Mike is getting overwhelmed in this sequence.
This was the moment where I'm like, oh my god, they're going full War of the Worlds with this.
And look at Michael Parkinson; he's still not buying any of this shit.
Well, I think that actually totally works because you have to keep the skepticism going right till the very end, Because if you don't have those opposing logics, you lose the realism. If you get totally caught up in the madness, then it's not scary, Yeah. Like it becomes hyper realism, and that hyper realism takes away from an actual more grounded kind of sense. And if none of them believe it, well then they'll just be like, oh, this is some bullshit, change the channel, and you lose all your viewers, and the illusion is broken.
Now I just want to point out that in paranormal investigations, electromagnetic interference is a very supposedly a common thing. What's that sound? Oh, that's right. Yeah, forgot about that.
Oh, the sounds. Picture's gone.
Something just walked in the background. Did you?
I didn't see it. No.
I can't pick it out.
This. Oh. Oh, the apathy, the blank look on her face.
No, right before that, I saw a white shape in the background move across. It probably was the other little girl, but it was just like, I never noticed that before.
We always talk, here on Comtrack, we always talk about, like, a great thing about movies is or something that is a mark of a really great movie is its rewatchability.
Yeah.
This is definitely a really good case.
Oh, yeah, you got to watch this thing 3 or 4 times to get everything. And still you're missing stuff.
Exactly. Even when you're looking like anxiously around corners, like a scared kid looking at the crazy shadows in their bedroom at night. Even when you're that intensely looking, you still miss stuff, which is so great.
Yeah. Now I just actually want to stop the video, go back and watch and see that figure I saw in the background. I'm wondering if that's one of the ghosts, or that was the little girl, or that was actually one of the sightings of pipes.
Oh, shit.
Not Mr. Bonbon.
The fridge is open. Oh, God.
What were those?
His eyes.
Oh, the eyes of the bunny. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the sounds. You know, it's at this point where I like even the word glory hole doesn't even bug me anymore because I'm just like so. Ugh.
Sean, you look okay. Are you okay over there?
No, I'm good.
I'm just sorry. I'm watching the video of you, and you look really intense.
I'm trying to watch for pipes, for catches.
Yeah.
Oh, the sounds of those cats, man.
I mean, they start doing the strobe and the audio, and I'm just like trying to like keep fixed on the video to see like where I can catch.
Right here.
Is this the shot of?
Okay, look.
Yep, that's him for a second. Yeah.
Like, I know. Like there are some more obvious sightings of pipes and whatnot, but that one is the one that scares me the most because it's so fast. You know.
Yeah.
And the fact that it stops literally just for half a second and you only see half his face. Oh, Jesus. Shit. And again, I love how they use this guy for humor. You know, to completely disarm you. You're like, oh, yeah, you know, it's all fine in there. It sounds really quaint.
The thing is, he has no idea what's going on.
Exactly. And I also love the fact that virtually.
And apparently, this guy,
crew...
this character, the guy with the beard,
yeah,
in the original treatment was a much more prominent character, but they just couldn't figure out how to use him.
Huh. I also love how there's kids with their Halloween costumes out.
Mm-hmm.
Good shit. But yeah, apparently the technicians, like the sound guys and all these people, like they're actual technicians. Like that's their actual job. And they were like, all right, who are some crew members who would actually like to act in this thing? Just kind of as themselves operating the things as they would a normal show.
Ooh, pick me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I would jump on that shit if it were me.
Okay, here we go.
Like, I'm not much of an actor, but man, this would be fun. But yeah, I love that everything seems
This is a great
now.
fake out. Great fake out.
I know, right?
It's like, everything's okay. Don't worry.
And, you know, even Michael Parkinson's like, oh, yeah, see, they're fun. They've resumed their game. Ha-ha.
I'm sorry. The last time I checked, the sound man had a chunk of glass in his head.
Yeah, I know, right? But again, it just goes into that whole thing where, you know, it's like, it's not really real until it's on television. Like, people really don't question things. Because, you know, again, this is BBC. This is the most respectable network in the country.
Yeah.
So if this was on like Channel 4, like they said, you know, they'd probably be like, "Oh, whatever."
This is the last piece. This is the last piece of the puzzle.
Yes, and I still remember how fucking terrifying it was to hear this story. Although, you know, I wonder the fact that, you know, our ghost pipes is supposed to be, you know, like the ghost of a very disturbed child molester. I wonder if they picked up on that from watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, one of the things that they talked about is, one of the theories I've heard about this entire Ghostwatch is that there was the baby collector, and then there was the disturbed young man, and these stories have run back over the centuries with this one spot. And it's like something has been building. Something evil has been building here for so long. All it needed is that one last piece of this electrical seance to essentially spread itself through completely through Britain, which is kind of what happened with the following panic.
Mm-hmm. Because like the real infectious thing wasn't necessarily the ghost; it was just the fear of the ghosts.
Oh yeah, the panic.
Panic's probably one of the most infectious diseases humans have encountered.
Oh yeah,
and this movie allowed that virus to become airborne.
Well, there's also another TV show that I called Behind Number 9,
Mm-hmm.
that did an homage to this, to Ghostwatch, where they were going to do a live show, and they kept having problems with the sound and such. And they're like, okay, fine, we're going to go back and show another episode because we can't get these technical difficulties to work out. And then they basically just pranked the audience. They did not announce it at all. Unlike Ghostwatch, where it's like, oh, this is all fake. No, number 9 never did. And but of course the way it was set up was kind of silly, but it was still the way it was set up and how it was done. And Twitter was going nuts because they're like, oh my God, it's all fake. Oh my God, what are they doing? Because it's one of those situations where you can't replicate it. You can be told how it was, but you can never replicate going back.
Yep. He's still not having it. This is so good.
But that levels of evil and levels of power, that's actually, I think, was inspired by the Stone tapes, which we can discuss later on.
Yeah. Even she's just like, I don't know if this is all real or not. I don't know.
Oh, she knows something's real, but she doesn't understand how to fix it or how to explain it.
Yep. Although apparently there were people working at the BBC, the authenticity was so grand and so well done that even they were fooled.
I can't wait to watch this documentary because I had not seen it before. Oh, I was trying to track that down for years, and you find it like, oh, little
it's
fucker.
Good. It's really good.
Fucker.
But yeah.
Tim is the master of finding stuff.
I'm a niffler.
You are. You're a video niffler.
Nope. Oh, fuck that. That transition is amazing.
Oh, the sound effects. Ooh, I've never actually heard this in my headphones before. This is legitimately terrifying.
Right? The fact that she just finally figured it out when it's too late.
Yep. There's the sound effects guy.
Yep.
Craig Charles is losing it.
With more cops coming in.
Well, it's kind of interesting. They're on the left-hand side, and they're normally... I never noticed that before.
Yeah, the surviving mother and daughter are fleeing into the dark.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, they really sell the look of terror. We're also missing Sarah Green.
Mm-hmm.
And Suzanne, the other young child. Oh, the devastation. So good, right? Show it just enough and then cut it off to this. I love how now we're now at the point where everyone is unsure of where this has gone completely over everyone's heads, including the hosts.
We're off the rails, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's when, like, I know everyone is just like, Jesus Christ, pack up the kids, we're getting out of the country. But yeah, you mentioned this is like the only other time where they bring in the infrared camera.
Yeah.
Kind of wish that they did kind of use this a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But
then again, like we said before, there are no useless jump scares in this, and that really might have come off as a useless jump scare to look at Pipes, ooh, he's spooky.
Yeah.
But this creates almost an alien atmosphere with a lot of claustrophobia.
Well, I'm also thinking of Predator.
Yeah.
Little bit. This is the point where they're going down the hall towards the door. There we go. Boy, I can only imagine what it must have been like watching this opening night.
Oh yeah.
And now it's into the studio and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
It's using the studio as like a lightning rod to spread throughout the entire country.
Oh yeah. And then the girl's voice mixing with the cat's.
Ugh.
And then Pipe's supposed to show up here. I never been able to quite see him.
I never did either. Like, I only saw darkness. A perfectly black, just void.
He's hidden in the video artifact.
Oh, this slam is just so terrifying. God. Wait, was that Pipes?
In the video artifact, yeah.
Yeah. He's everywhere now.
He's still trying to. He's trying to be the preeminent newsman. You know, very. He's just looking around like, okay.
Is am I being punked here?
Mike Smith is worried about his wife. Is scared to death for his wife.
Yep. Now we've blacked out, and now pretty much everyone has just fled the studio in absolute terror and fear. But this also goes back to Orson Welles and War of the Worlds. One of the most effective moments in the whole broadcast is when they have the live field reporter doing a commentary, and then the machine rises from the thing, and it cuts off.
Yeah.
And everyone's in his direction was absolute silence for like 10 full seconds. And it was like the longest 10 seconds of the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, we have the final shot, of the most haunting and terrifying shot. Because again, he's still trying to maintain his skepticism and his professionalism.
Yeah.
And the teleprompter seems to be working, and all he can read is the creepy nursery rhyme before being possessed. God. Credits. Jesus. That's how you end a fucking horror movie right there.
Yeah, that is just... still... I wish I had a chance to see this when it first aired. I mean, that would be just such an amazing moment.
That would have been like the most like. Can you imagine even just like someone having a really boring Halloween? Like, oh man, I really wish something good would come on. And you see this shit, and you're like, I regret everything.
I have made an error.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna step away again because I gotta use the restroom, and I'll be right back.
Okay. But
talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
In all retrospect, this is still like one of the great unsung horror films.
Hidden gem, I think is the term.
Yes, hidden gem is definitely the term I'd use because, again, I really wanted to do something really weird and obscure for Halloween, and I thought, man, what a great Halloween movie this would be for us to just kind of sit down and watch. But so like I know you've got some semi-conflicting thoughts, Sean, because I know you think that it's in terms of what it is and what it did for the time, it's great, but post 1995, fuck everything after
no,
that.
I mean I think this is very well done. I think it's great. I just some of what was spawned by it, I feel, is... So this is great because it was so well thought out and well planned and well executed. But then people took the concept and decided not to execute it as well or have it as well thought out. And it's just like, like the reason this works is like there's a payoff. It's like, even at the very end, it's like, the
Yes.
voice change, I mean, at that very last shot, like, it's a payoff. Even though it may not be the typical payoff you were expecting from a horror film, it very much still pays off. And with all those pop-ups and flashes.
Copycats.
Well, right,
Yeah.
no, but I'm saying all the pop-up and flashes throughout this, where it's like, okay, like, Pipes is actually showing up. Then for it to turn into things where it's like, hey, look, we have an entire movie where we're going to just keep ratcheting up the tension, and we'll show you, like, totems and stuff, but you never actually see, like, what we're looking for. And I'm just like, how is this a thing? Who decided this was okay? And that's just it. It's like, somebody had this great concept and executed it so well, which we just watched, and then people are like, hey, I can do that concept, but they can't, and we end up with really bad movies.
Yeah, because you're totally right. Because I feel like it's a instance of people taking the wrong lessons from it. Like one of my great textbook example is the Bourne Supremacy or the Bourne Ultimatum. Great spy movies, but now every fucking movie has to have extreme shaky cam action sequences. I know, and it's
thankfully, I think we're finally coming out of that. Like, I think we're moving away from that period again, which is good. And, to that point, yeah, I absolutely loathe it. And, I was even kind of offended when I've seen Spielberg do that, because it's like, you used to be the master of action. Why are you doing the shaky cam silliness? This is not necessary.
Look, it worked really well for Private Ryan, but just don't do it for this other shit.
Well, yeah, of course. You needed something like that for Private Ryan, because, like, how else are you going to actually ratchet up the horror of war?
Well, yeah, and even when he does things like that, he knows how to keep things clear by doing these very long takes where you don't lose any of the intensity or any of the immediacy, but it eases the pressure on your brain by not overcutting
and that's just it. Back to the point, one of the reasons this works so well, as you said, that the skepticism continues till almost the very end of the movie. That is necessary. Now, when a lot of other movies, I think part of the negatives of them is they don't have that balance. It's like, oh, here's a found footage thing, and everyone's just terrified from the word go. And I'm like, well, why? Like there needs to be that skepticism that, like, this can be explained. Let's reground it. And without doing that, it's just like, well, now we're being silly.
Even in all honesty, that kind of philosophy can be applied to even regular horror films, not just found footage.
Yeah.
Because, like, a really great recent example was the film Oculus, where, we actually had scientific measurements of whether or not this haunted mirror actually, is capable of supernatural entities and whatnot. Like, there was, you have one character who believes that wholeheartedly that this thing is supernatural, and the other who believes, no, this is a scientific thing that you're just making up. And the fact that psychological conflict happens between the two characters, it creates a psychological conflict for the viewer because you're not sure who to believe. You see? So when you do that, horror movies need a lot more of that, because it's much more terrifying, especially in this age of a new embrace of, like, atheism and things like that. If you can scare atheists into like where there are actual demons and ghosts and goblins and things like that, that's when you have it. Because if you can get the skeptics scared, that's when you got a really good horror thing going.
And that's a great take.
Yes. Horror movies need more scientific credibility in order to pull our ears back further for the scary supernatural. Do that, horror movies. Do it, you cowards, because I'm sick of your lame ass jump scares and your boring ass characters. Because I argue the characters in this movie are actually really fascinating, especially the fact that we know, Britain as a collective kind of knows them already,
Yeah.
through their other shows.
Even the little things, play so well. Like case in point, the one, reporter outside who they kept using for comedic relief and to break the tension. But then when you see him suddenly get that serious and that concerned, it's like,
Yes.
even though it's like he has like any lines there are like in the background can barely hear, but like you see it in his entire demeanor. And like something
Absolutely.
that little has such an impact, and it's just like, yeah, that kind of filmmaking is important.
Yes.
Okay,
So,
I just want to point out a couple things here.
What's
I'm on the trivia page for Ghostwatch.
Yeah.
And there is some amusing
on
ones.
IMDb.
Yeah, this is kind of amusing. The helpline was real, and the first thing people were told when they rang up was this is not real, although they were allowed to tell their stories.
Yep.
On the night of transmission, actress Gillian Bevan, who played the doctor, Lynn Pascoe, returned home from the wrap party to find an answering machine message from friend and fellow actress Judi Dench, who jokingly chastised her for inadvertently really spoiling her enjoyment of Ghostwatch, having naturally recognized her, and thereby deducing the show was in fact staged, not live. That ghost in the sheet painting that's hanging over the studio fireplace is actually a print of an existing piece by Austrian-Irish artist Gottfried Henlein, which Stephen Folk first saw in an exhibition in Vienna.
See, now I got to get me a copy of that.
Okay.
Hang it up every Halloween. But yeah, well, are there any other final thoughts? Because honestly, I think we can all agree that this movie is kind of a masterclass worth studying. Not just for found footage or mockumentary filmmaking or realism or anything. It's really a masterclass in what you can do psychologically in horror. But other than that, are there any other final thoughts you wanted to add?
Not really. I mean, I think we've covered everything. It's a great movie. Every time I watch it, I find something new. Like I said, I found that one sequence that looks like someone's in the background. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. I'm pretty sure it's one of the little girls, but still, it's like, what is that?
But I think the only other thing to say is if you can, try to hunt down a copy of 3110 by Stephen Volk. It's a wonderful little sequel for Ghostwatch and lovely thing to watch as a supplement to this, and especially on a Halloween night like tonight.
And also, if you like Ghostwatch, go see if you can find a copy of Behind the Curtains, which I'm very happy I finally have. Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
You jerk.
And of course, if any of you can find at least 10 confirmed sightings by us of pipes, you'll get a free T-shirt of Ghostwatch from us. And of course, but if you can find all 13, then it's completely yours. And when that happens, tell the internet, tell your friends, tell all your horror friends that you found all of pipes.
Yes,
because that's kind of a big thing. Even 30 years later now. Yeah. Almost 30 years.
Actually, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Do you think that this could have worked in the United States today?
Today? No. No, just because of social media.
Okay.
Only because you'd really have to have a powerful set of individuals with you can film it, live or you can film it in advance, present it as live, and get a social media thing going similar to what they had with the telephone thing. But if you don't have a really good team behind you, you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine Stone Phillips doing this as the presenter, and Kat Denning being the girl in the house, and
because it's way too hard to keep up with the internet. You can keep up with television back then, but the internet is far too vast and far too fast and far too numerous to maintain that kind of a hoax, even for just a relatively short amount of time, 90 minutes.
Again, that's one of the things that would work so well here is, because you have all these established people, that because most people are watching TV and are familiar with them, that ratchets up the impact because they have these pre-existing, relationships and expectations from the people in it. How are you going to do that now when there's no the universal zeitgeist has changed so dramatically because of the internet and everyone getting in their own little circles?
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I think, it'd be a fun little thing, but it would be very obvious that it would be fake.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself, I don't think would be that bad anyway, because the last thing we need is another fucking scare in this country.
Oh yeah.
I think there's enough of that.
Yeah.
But either way, this is still a really good way to get into the Halloween mood. And like I said, check out the sequel or the documentary if you can, because they're both really great. And of course, like I said, you find all 13 sightings of pipes, we'll send you a free T-shirt. No questions asked of Ghostwatch. So that said, I hope you guys had a really good Halloween, because this has been a really great night for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, still practice that social distancing. Try to be spooky with your very small circle of friends.
Yes.
Make some popcorn. Go choose one of your favorite scary flicks. Or just,
this one.
This one.
This is why we're here. This is why we're literally here, Dan.
Well, I mean, other times, obviously. But,
of course.
Or just find some stuff you haven't never seen before. So go back, watch some of the original Universal Monster movies, and try to put yourself in the mindset of watching those for the first time. I mean, those are fun.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, guys.
And of course, if you want, you can also check out some of my previous episodes from Halloween. I did Young Frankenstein. I did Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm sorry. Frankenstein? Get it right.
Good man, sir. Good man. But yeah, man, this has been an episode of Comtrack where we'll never have to watch a movie alone again. I've been Tim.
I've been Sean.
I've been running to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
You old lady.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, thanks a lot for listening. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time. We've got a very special episode. We're actually going to be coming in at you tomorrow, not next Friday, but next Thursday for a very special November the 5th. But I'll cap it off there. So have a good night. Peace.